Well, good afternoon, folks. It's Saturday, and me and the dog are just kind of hanging on the back porch, relaxing. I am doing what sometimes happens with people is called procrastination, right? Because I have so much on my plate for this weekend that I really don't want to do nothing. Uh, yeah, I've been up off and on since about 2 o'clock this morning. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon now, and I ain't done nothing because we get like this sometimes where you've had a rough week for whatever reason, dealing with people, dealing with uh, all the stresses on your work, and you get home and you're like, well, I got to clean the house. Eh. I got to cut the grass. Eh. It all just sounds like more work, right? So yeah, we are dealing with that today because um yeah, we just we're in that mood today. But okay, let's talk about some things which have come up in the news and I'm concerned about. Specifically since I run the ports, right? I guess he got hot. Um, so one of the things I'm concerned about is this tariffs. Uh, how that's going to affect my job, right? So that's in the back of my mind. Um, how it's going to affect all of y'all as far as prices go, right? Because we know that uh, basically a trade war is going to happen, right? There's no denying that at this point, and that's going to cause prices to increase. So yeah, I took the puppy dog yesterday, and he got his little nails trimmed, and he got his shot for heartworm for the year, and he's got a little bit of an infection on his foot and in his ear, so I had to get him antibiotics and phew, doing the senior blood work and all that to make sure everything's okay with him. And I'm in the wrong business. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm not going to argue with him about the price because I understand that everybody's prices have gone up. But last year, for the same thing that I had done this year, only cost me about $400. This year, it's double that. It was $813 and something, and that's that's yeah, it's only yearly, right? So when you break it down to every month, it's not that much, but at one shot, right? That's a lot of money for people, right? So thankfully, I have that, right? Because I assumed it would be more. So it was a little bit less than what I expected. I expected to be around 1,000, but it was only 800 and something. So uh, that was good, right? And I prepared for that. Um, amazingly, because I normally don't do this. I budgeted for it. A budget. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Anybody knows me knows, no, budgeting is, budgeting is not my thing, right? Um, so yeah, we budgeted for that. So trade war. How do you budget for a trade war? Well, let's look at it, okay? We already see that most of everything that we buy is about 20% more than it was last year. Some things are double, and some things are about the same price. You know, that they've gone up a little bit. Um, I would just tell you, if you're trying to look ahead, I would just tell you, start looking for, if your store that you shop at gives coupons or deals, and this is one of the things that I do, is I look for the daily deals. Like Amazon is a big thing for me because I hate going in the store, right? Another big thing for me is, I do the pickup outside the store. I do a lot of that. But you can shop online for these things, and you can get some deals that way, okay? So when I buy, I think of the things that I use all the time, and I try and budget for a year for that item. Okay, here's a good example. Coffee mate. I don't buy the little things of Coffee Mate. I buy the big one, right? The 62 ounce thing of Coffee Mate, okay? And that normally will last me 3 to 6 months, depending on if I'm using, because I do like to mix it up, and I like to use cocoa mix in my coffee some days, right? So I buy in bulk. Now understand that if you buy in bulk, you're going to pay more, okay? Because you are buying in bulk. So my recommendation is, when you're looking at something that you're going to buy in bulk, let's say you're going to buy a case of Campbell's soup, let's say. Look at the price for the case. Look how many's in the case. Because sometimes they'll sit there and they'll say it's a case, and normally we would think a case is 24 cans. This is no longer the standard, okay? It could be 8 to 12 cans for the case, or it could be the smaller cans with 24. Okay, so you want to look at how many's in the case, you want to take the price of it, and you want to divide that up by how many's in that case. Now, you also, if you're having it delivered, like let's say from Amazon, you need to calculate in an extra couple dollars for delivery, right? And then you'll figure out, well, is it cheaper for me to buy that case from Amazon than it is to go and pick it up from the store, the same amount? Which one's cheaper can I do? Okay, a good example of this is spaghetti sauce, right? So you can get a can of spaghetti sauce or a jar of spaghetti sauce, depending on what you like. I happen to like the jars because I reuse the jars. Okay, so a good one that I like is Classico. Okay, and Classico used to be $2.98 a jar, right? And so one jar would be like 3 meals for me, okay? You know, if I made spaghetti, one jar would be like 3 meals. So whenever I went to buy Classico, I would look for a deal where they had them on sale for $2.25 a jar. They do that, okay? The problem is this is going to take you some work. So whatever your family uses regularly, be it flour, rice, sugar, coffee, tea, even sodas, okay? You want to shop the sales, okay? And you want to see if can I combine the sale with a coupon? Now, some stores don't allow that. Okay. And some stores, if you are picking up at the store, you can't get the sale price. Okay. So that's another thing you need to look at. Is there a delivery charge? If I'm having it delivered, what is the delivery charge? Now you need to add that in to whatever you're getting. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Popular items, be it toilet paper, shampoo, whatever, sell out very quickly. So, what I tend to do is I tend to look at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, and I'll just look for the same items. Are they on sale? No. Okay. Well, we got enough to last us 3 months. We'll wait until they go on sale, right? So call it prepping, call it smart shopping, call it whatever you want. I try and have enough on my shelf that I can wait until it goes on sale. That doesn't mean that I've got 50 jars of the same thing. Okay? Some items I do, specifically sugar, right? Specifically rice. I use a lot of rice, I use a lot of sugar. Okay? So those things I'm always on the hunt for, right? And typically when I buy sugar, I buy the 25-pound bag, or I look for a sale on the smaller bags, which is cheaper to buy the smaller bags than it would be to, when you figure out the price, than it would be to buy the 25-pound bag. Okay? So you want to do that too, right? Now, I'm saying all this because what I'm seeing coming down the pipeline is an increase in prices. And I wanted to give you a heads up on this, and I'm sure you already know this, right? I'm just telling you what you already know. But you should be looking very hard right now everywhere you spend a penny. Okay? Because if you can save a penny over here, it can go over there. Right? Now, part of that increase in price, we're also going to see probably an increase in fuel, an increase in electricity, an increase in water. Right? If you have those three that you buy, God bless you if you're off grid, because you're going to be sitting pretty, right? The rest of us who aren't off grid, we're going to feel that, right? We're going to see an increase in insurance, increase in your home insurance, yada 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 yada. You know what I'm talking about. So, start looking for things that, yeah, you like, but you can cut. Do you need all those cable services? Do you need all these subscriptions that you have? You know, can you cut one or two of them? It's a serious discussion, right? It's a serious discussion. Yeah. So, think about that, you know, because if you don't think about it now, it's going to hit you hard when you do realize what's happening, okay? And I don't want to see anyone go without, right? When just small little planning ahead will save you in the long run, right? And I don't want you to go spend outside your means, right? the prices of things is just going up and up and up, right? And let's be honest, our paychecks are not going up and up and up to match. So you have to make these decisions with your family what you're going to do. Okay, for me, I've cut just about everything. Okay, um, and I've had to do that over the last year and a half. Okay, uh, just to stay above board, right? I think we can all agree on that. Now, this bill with the dog, I knew was coming, so I was able to budget for that. But some things will hit your family, and there's nothing you can do. A good example would be a tornado comes in and tears up your house. What are you going to do now? Okay, so even if you're only putting a quarter or dollar to the side every week, that's something, right? Um, Try and do that, okay? Because I'm gonna tell you honestly, if I hadn't budgeted for this bill yesterday, I'd be in a world of hurt right now, because that's almost equal to my home mortgage a month, right? And yeah, I mean, I'm like most of y'all. I don't make a lot of money, right? I work my butt off, but I don't make a lot of money, okay? Um, I think everybody would agree with that. Now, I make more than some people I know, right? But trust me when I tell you, uh, I'm making less than 50 a year, okay? Um, that's not a lot of money nowadays. And for those of you who are making half of that, I don't know how you're making it. Honestly, I do not. I do not know how you're making it, because I'm barely making it. And uh, yeah, I'm budgeting like I never had to budget before. I'm 61 years old. I never had to budget before. I never had to think about this. I got paid. This went to that. That went to that. And hey, I got $200 to go do whatever it was. Well, I ain't got that no more. Okay. So think about that. Think ahead. Think about what you're going to be doing, and just be aware that what I see coming down the pipeline is probably a trade war, and it's not going to be good for us on the lower end of the financial table. Now, on a side note, I got some cool stuff this weekend. Oh, I have figured out and found fidgets. Fidgets. I never even heard of them before. They are the greatest thing. They are the greatest thing. So, yep, I got to get myself up on my butt. And like I said, I got a lot of things going on, but, I've been procrastinating all day. So, we got to get out there and get it done, right? Bicycle,